Welcome to the From Corporate to Coach podcast, your guide to turning your corporate expertise into income by building a thriving business, working only 5 hours a week and without quitting your job. I'm your host, Isaline Rosier, and today we're going to dive into one of the biggest mindset shifts you need to make when transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship. So if you have been struggling with imposter syndrome, fear of failure, lack of time, or the uncertainty of building your own business, this episode is for you. Because I will share key mindset shifts and strategy that will help you step into your role as a confident entrepreneur. Let's get started. When I first started building my business, I was running it like a corporate employee. I was constantly doing, and mimicking what I saw others doing instead of thinking like a real CEO. I wasn't assessing what needed to be done or prioritizing effectively to get results. Instead, what I was doing is that I was hustling hard, but hustling didn't get me nowhere, except for feeling exhausted and feeling frustrated. One thing that I realized is that when you are in corporate, you are trained to follow rules and meet expectation. Your time is dictated by meeting, deadline, and other people's priority. You don't plan for yourself. Your agenda is filling up quickly and others set it for you. But as an entrepreneur, you are setting your own rule. You need clarity on what you want to achieve, on how you plan to achieve it, and how does that translate into your daily schedule. Not blocking time for your business or not knowing what you need to work on each day will actually keep you stuck. It won't help you turn your expertise into income because you will just stay in the same cycle of overthinking and inaction. One of the things that I realized over time is that corporate job creates the illusion of security. But the real security comes from building something on your own, something that you actually have control over. Right now, what you are doing is that you are prioritizing your corporate job because it pays a bill. But what if you get laid off tomorrow? If you haven't built your business, you will have nothing to fall back on. And that's why it is so smart to prioritize your business now while using your corporate job to actually fund it. And this is something that I learned firsthand from my father. He worked in a stable corporate job for many, many years, believing it was secured. But when his company went through restructuring, he lost his position. And he had no backup plan. And it was really a wake-up call for me because he has been loyal to this company for many years. And that's when I actually truly understood that relying on your corporate paycheck is not a real security. Entrepreneurs don't think in terms of short-term paycheck. They think in terms of value creation and long-term vision. Why most of the corporate employees are often risk-averse. But successful employees know that while risk can feel scary, they are calculated, they are manageable. And when taking the risk pay off, they far exceed the average corporate salaries that you can get. And that's exactly why the framework that I created is so powerful, because you don't have to quit your job to actually build your coaching business. You don't have to work 48 hours to succeed. You just need to shift your mindset and take strategic, intentional action. One thing that happened when I built my business is that I felt like a total fraud. And I kept asking myself, who would pay me for my expertise? Can I really get results? And I know that a lot of my clients feel this way. But what happened? Deep down, I knew I was skilled. But because I never saw my expertise before, I was doubting myself. In my corporate job, I knew that my expertise was valuable. But it was used to help company, not the individual. And that's where I felt the biggest connection. I wanted to be able to help people change their life. And that's when transitioning into and entrepreneurship made me question everything. One thing that helped me really push back that block of imposter syndrome was testing my services. Back then, I created my framework and I started to offer it to people who were interested. The feedback that I received helped me build that confidence that I was really lacking. Basically, when I started to see tangible results, it made me realize, yes, I have the knowledge to help people. My expertise is valuable and I know I can help them. But I also realized that my imposter syndrome wasn't just about doubting my expertise. It was about doubting my pricing. It was about doubting my framework, my ability to communicate, and my confidence in selling my offer. And I know that's something that a lot of people are experiencing, especially at the beginner stage of building your business. And I quickly realized that this doubt came from not being an entrepreneur before. Because you have never been an entrepreneur before, everything is new, which makes your brain freak out because every time that you need to do something new, your brain is actually wondering, am I able to do that? But here is the truth. Imposter syndrome is not just your brain trying to protect you from change, because you know that your brain wants to keep you safe. You know that your brain loves to be comfortable. But one thing that your brain doesn't realize and that you are realizing is that growth only happens when you are getting out of your comfort zone, when you are doing something new, something that you have never done before. And one of the key is to recognize it for what it is so you can actually take control of it instead of letting control you. Because what is happening when you are freaking out? You are procrastinating, you are avoiding doing things, and you are not taking action on your business and you are putting it in the back burner. So you really need to acknowledge when your imposter syndrome is showing up and how to control it. So you are actually starting to create a result. But you might wonder, how do you freaking do that? You just identify the task that you have been procrastinating. You just identify the task you have been procrastinating on. And you ask yourself, are you avoiding them because it feels too hard? Because you are not sure where to start? Or because you doubt your ability to do it them well? Then, once you answer this question, one of the things that I really want you to do is that I really want you to break this task into small, manageable steps. Confidence comes from action, not from waiting until you feel ready. As I told you already in the past podcast episode, you will never be ready. So you need to do it and to do it messy. Because the more action you're going to take, the more competent and the more confident you will become. One of the things that show up when I started to build my business was the fear of failure. Honestly, I spent most of my life being terrified of failure. I saw it as something to be avoided at all costs. Because I was so afraid of it, I overworked myself. And don't get me wrong, it actually helped me. Because if I didn't have that fear of failing, I wouldn't have worked that much and become good at what I'm doing. But what was the cost? I was constantly exhausted. I had back pain every week. And worst of all, my fear of failure was really keeping me away from what I really wanted to do with my life. I was so scared of failing that I was avoiding making bold moves. Because what if I fail? In my brain, like failure was the end of the world. Until I realized that I was completely wrong. Failure is not the worst thing that can happen. It's actually the best thing that can happen to you. Because when you fail, you learn so much. You learn what worked, what didn't work, and what you could have done differently, and how you can tweak your action in order to get the results that you want. And one of the things that I realized is that a lot of people stay stuck because they are afraid of doing the wrong thing. But here is the irony. Doing the wrong thing is exactly what would make you successful. Because the more you fail, the more you learn, and the more you increase your chance of success. So don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of not taking action. In order to overcome all those blocks that I had that actually prevent me from really becoming a business owner, to become the CEO of my business, I develop 3 mindset hacks that you can implement right away for your success. The first one, I want you to adopt a growth mindset. So what is that? When you have a growth mindset, it means that you are not afraid to fail. For you, failure is just a feedback. You are willing to fail fast so you can learn fast and you can build a successful business. And you know that every mistake that you are making is teaching you something. Having a growth mindset is really about learning and adjusting all the time. The second thing that I want you to shift in your mindset is that I really want you to learn how to visualize your future self. I want you to picture yourself as a thriving business owner, because you are not a corporate employee anymore. This is not your identity anymore. Yes, you are still one, but this is not your full identity. You are creating right now a new one. And you need to know, what does that mean to be a successful CEO for you? What are you doing? What are you thinking? I really want you to get clear on that version of you so you can embody it and you can practice being her on a daily basis. Because staying a corporate employee won't help you become a CEO at all. The last mindset shift that I want you to operate is that I want you to take small but consistent steps. It's always progress over perfection. And one thing that I really want you to integrate, because most of the time you are going to tell yourself, I don't have the time to do it. I have this, and that to do. But the truth is that I build my business in small pocket of time. And my client does the same. And when you have this small pocket of time, you are taking small action. But when you are accompanying all those small action, it actually creates momentum. The big steps that you think that you are afraid to take, when you are actually breaking them down, they don't feel big anymore. Breaking them into smaller steps, scheduling them in your agenda, and taking action will get you exactly to where you are. But you need to take messy action first. Overall, what I want you to keep in mind from this podcast episode is that making the transition from employee to entrepreneur, it's not just about strategy. It's about stepping into a new identity. You are not a corporate employee anymore. You are becoming the CEO of your business. And you need to think, act, and make a decision like a business owner. So if you are ready to turn your expertise into income by building a thriving coaching business, working only 5 hours a week, I would encourage you to book a strategy call with me. During this call, we will map out exactly what is your plan to reach your goal, so you can build your business working only 5 hours a week. And I will show you that no matter how busy you are, you will be able to build it and you will be able to succeed. So if this episode helped you, make sure to share it with a fellow ambitious woman who needs to hear this, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!